Hi, Marina. This is Tom Barber back on Radio Works. I'm really pleased to be with you, and thank you all for listening. It's really great to be back. Hi, Marina.
Wow, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is the time you've been waiting for. And you know what? It's going to take us to a place you've never been before, to a place you never heard about it, to a place that is not listed in any directory. This time, right now, is going to give us Tom Barber, and Tom Barber is going to give us the mind. Over to you, Tom.
Okay, thanks, Marina. I wish I could give you the mind. I'm going to give you, I guess, what I found is a great way of helping someone take charge of their mind and therefore then take charge of their life. We've been talking over the last few episodes about the ideas of taking an intelligent look at self-help and what you can do to really make the changes you want in your life. And that kind of led us, didn't it, onto the idea of self-belief and looking at what really you believe in and how maybe you can make changes there to start altering.
But you see, Tom, I see this in a totally different light. It's celebration time. There are 35 hours of one-to-one coaching and therapy over the last 23 years for you.
Mm-hmm.
So let's celebrate Mind. Let's celebrate you. Let's celebrate our listeners, because what is more important? What treasure could match the priceless value of your mind, of being able to understand your mind, being able to go on a discovery journey each day and allow yourself to change and embrace change without being afraid that that's the end of the world. Unless I stay to my old self, nothing good is going to happen. I better, just refuse the idea of discovery who I am through, it's so important for our listeners to understand that there is more. And there is so much more that we'll never get to the end of it. It's just fascinating to see how much is available and is not out there. It's inside your mind. And that's why I'm so excited about your show, and I'm taking massive notes. And for our listeners, please grab pen and paper. It's a lot to learn. And if not now, when? Over to you, Tom.
Absolutely, I share your excitement, Marina, and as I said to you, this month actually I've come to an anniversary where I've now done coming this month to 35,000 hours of one-to-one.
35,000 hours.
Yeah, it's when I looked back and sort of added it all up, it shocked me, because every time I go through this process with somebody, it feels like the first time, because I find this exciting after 23, 24 years. It's like doing it the first time with every single person. And the reason for that is because when you help someone unlock what's inside them, the pleasure that I get from that is immense. Nothing can match it. It's just awesome. So
wow.
What I wanted to do.
So this comes down, Tom, wait a minute. This comes down to almost 5 hours a day.
Absolutely.
Over 23 years with no holidays. So which means if we consider that, it's a lot more than only 5 hours a day. So tell me, how was it for you and Sandra to go through other people's stuff, like the stuff that they don't have the courage to face by themselves when they had to ask your help, and how that feels? You must feel like, God, oh my God. Tell me how that makes you feel.
It's really interesting you say that, because only yesterday I was working with a client and they left the session, and I was just in awe at what people manage and how they actually deal with life and the courage that they want to step into to living in a better way. And you know what, it reminded me, even after all this time, it's an absolute privilege. It really is a privilege to have the opportunity to sit with somebody and for them to really tell you what's in their heart. and in their head and about their life. And I honestly could not think of a better thing to do. And yeah, for sure, it's at least 5 hours a day. There were back in the olden days, I was doing a lot more than that. But I had a lot more energy then. But that's without, Marina, all of the groups we've worked with over the last 20 years as well. So you can multiply that by 10. But it's, when I come down to it, it's when I work with one-to-one with somebody, it's something very unique and something very special, because they're able to open up, and yeah, it's a total privilege. Absolutely.
Wow. And tell me, so what is what is in for our listeners, apart from learning and apart from understanding the vastity, the awesomeness at their own mind? What is that they should expect, they could expect at the end of a session with you?
Okay, so basically, the way that I work is, it used to vary quite a lot with people, because people are so individual, and so I learned over many years to adapt to the individual person. But what I found is, over these years and over all of these hours, and also with groups, is that there's kind of a structure to how we look at change, and how we accept change, and how we take it on board, and then how we start to live it. And I guess what that took me to was kind of a 4-step process, really, which is what the M.I.N.D Master Method is. And I broke it down into the stages that I saw people move in a kind of transient way through change, so that when they got to the end of it, it was just a natural thing. It was something they integrated. It was part of them. The future was theirs. And you see, what I don't want when someone comes to see me, and this is not what a lot of coaches will tell you. What I don't want is that they come to me with a problem to solve, and they do that, and then they have to come back with another problem because they don't know what to do. The whole idea of what I do with the M.I.N.D Master Method is to empower someone to take charge permanently, so that they don't have to keep coming back to coaching. They don't have to keep coming back time after time when a new kind of problem arises. But the method really teaches them how to take charge and to formulate a future in which they know the steps to take to approach the challenges that come to them in life. Because life does give us challenges all the way along, right? It's part of what makes it exciting.
Do you think I could share what meant to me working with you and Sandra?
Please do. I would love to hear. I really would.
You remember, it was a couple of years ago, and what I discovered during that session, during that group session, was just beyond awesome. It was like self-mastery. And I realized that when I want more success, I only need to order my mind to create better value. And what I really learned is that, yes, you can create and nobody will know. But unless you find the powers, the freedom within yourself to deliver what you create, nobody's going to benefit ever. So it's all about, you remember you made me walk on that path, and I had to say something, and I said all the time, all in. Yeah. All in. So there is no other way. This is what I learned, and this is what opened up the world for me. And now the world is my oyster, simply because I put into practice everything I learned from you, and I use that day in, day out. And I learned that it's a practical, technical achievement. And I realized that turning that opportunity of learning from you into understanding what opportunity really means with a higher sense made it for me. And I'm so grateful to you and Sandra. I never had the chance to say, or I didn't know what to say because it was almost like overwhelming. But I discovered how to manage my emotions. So I can be a master of persistent work on myself. You know, I'm always a work in progress. And I discover how to maintain my focus and my actions, and how to keep the momentum going without being distracted from meaningful goals. Because before it was like I need a fire extinguisher all the time. I had to rush somewhere to rescue somebody or something, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful to you and Sandra, because I really learned to become my strategic self. And this is what I'm teaching now, and it's transferable. I'm teaching my clients everything I'm experiencing, and that increased my ability to understand how to equal myself, what I have inside with what I give. So all these things, you know, it's just so amazing to come to one of your events, or just book a strategy session with you, because the mind is all you have. Nothing exists outside your mind. Over to you, Tom.
Yeah, it's so great to hear you talk about that particular process, and I remember it so well, Marina. And Sandra and I, for us, when we run that particular program, that the part of that weekend, that 2-day event, is what we call the power walk. And I remember it like it was yesterday, when you were walking up and you know, making that statement of all in. And it stayed with both Sandra and I ever since. And what you don't know, Marina, which I want to share with you, is that also made a shift in us. Because, you know, the notion of going all into something is so important, of stepping right into it and saying, yeah, do you know what? I'm not going to hold back. I'm not going to keep one foot back into where I am, but I'm going to step all in, and I'm really going to go for it. And I want to say thank you to you, because you helped us there as well. And that's what I mean when I say it's a privilege to work with people, because we learn so much back, and it is a very reciprocal process, I believe, and as it should be. Because, you know, the moment that I ever feel I know everything is the moment I start worrying, because we never know everything, and learning should be you know, always an ongoing process. You know, I believe it was Michelangelo said, "I'm still learning," and it was age 89. So it just came.
That's so beautiful. I'm still learning, because I am.
Yeah.
I can't help it. And it's so much to learn from you, Tom. And I just wonder, so I have pen and paper. Whenever you're ready to start teaching, I'm sure our listeners are in you know, preparing themselves and opening their mind. And I hope sharing my own experience is helping them to see themselves being at the end of this power walk, because this is exactly what you are doing each time. You take our listeners on a power walk, and yes, maybe you have to repeat that by yourself, and you know, because you are work in progress, and it's just incredible what is awaiting for you on the other side. When you are at the end of the walk, you don't feel fear anymore. All you feel is love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Over to you, Tom.
It's such a powerful process. And you mentioned something just before that as well, which it really fitted so much with what I wanted to share with you today. And it was about creating an order in your mind, because so many of the people that we come across, both Sandra and I, and specifically in the M.I.N.D Master Method program that you know, I'm working with people with, one of the things they bring is a desire to change, and they really want to change. You know, it's not as if they're just, you know, giving lip service here. They really want to get out of the situation they're in, and into a place where, you know, part of them feels compelled to be and to become the person that they truly want to aspire to. But they bring with them initially a kind of a jumbled up and full up state, you know. And it's the order is the first thing that I guess really is the first part of the program that I work with them with. So in this sense, in the Mind Master Method, it's about very first of all motivating the mind, because if there's one thing that creates order, it's motivation. Once you start to gain some motivation, then there's almost like there becomes a vested interest in what's coming next. So in a sense here, you're beginning to get the mind to switch into the right place and to become prepared and to begin to try to understand the whole process of change and what happens. And this is, without doing this, without motivating the mind that something can happen, it becomes a futile task. I see this so many times, and I hear it online, of people, saying about personal development, you just got to believe in yourself, and you've just got to make the change, and you've just got to become the person you can be. And it's all very well saying it, but you see, if someone doesn't understand the order and the process of changing into that person, it's very hard for them. So we really start with motivating the mind, and the power in this, the purpose of it in a sense, is that it connects that person with their unconscious power and the resources that often they've forgotten they have. You see, it's infinite, isn't it? The power we have inside us, it's all there. But the world clouds it, problems happen, they accumulate, we start to feel trapped, and in a sense, we get stuck in the everydayness of life. And motivation starts to ignite the mind into possibilities. And once you start to think about possibilities, then you start to think about potential, and all of this is really essential in seeding that change can happen. And this is really where we start. That sound.
Wow. You see, what I was, at the time I was traveling the world, I was invited to speak, and I was really not clear. In my mind was no clarity. I had no idea what I was doing. And everybody wanted me to be somewhere, and I was going everywhere, Yeah. And I was really, literally wanted nothing more but help them. And yet I felt that I'm not being enough for them. I felt that I'm not giving them enough because I didn't give myself enough. I didn't give myself the chance to understand what is the outcome, to understand what is happening, to understand, and basically to drop everything I learned before and make room for this awesomeness, and drop all this, because it was like going through a tunnel and carrying all these old baggages from before, from the life I had before I published my first book. And when I was just getting up in the morning, going to my to-do list, tick all the boxes, come back, go sleep, and wake up, go work, come back. So I had to trade what I had, all this huge, massive, carrying on my back, because I was going through a very lonely, narrow tunnel. So I couldn't carry anything.
Yeah.
So it was like being born again. It was literally reinventing myself, my new life, the life where people were, they needed me, and I did not know what to give them. And what I learned from you was that unless I see for myself the outcome, what is happening, who I become, I can't give my clients anything. So at the time I didn't charge anyone. It wasn't a hobby, it was a passion, but I couldn't truly see how I could charge somebody for my services. Even I was serving the world, I was always on the go, living on a suitcase, helping everyone, and it was massively, like I was literally jumping from one airplane to another all the time, and I did not make a living out of it. And I was in a very weird place because I had no idea what to do next and who to be next. And you and Sandra, you really helped me see where I'm going and see and allow to my mind to create that outcome first. Have that vision, build that vision. Because transformational change, yes, it's very easy to say, yes, she transformed her life. She was retired from her business. She was very ill and she wrote a book and now she travels the world. But is it? I mean, is that all there is? No, that's nothing.
Yeah.
That's just the beginning. It's as if you are just born and you have to go through all the processes that are part of your becoming, of your personal development. You have to learn how to drink water and eat food and walk and take baby steps and be, like exactly like a baby. This is how I felt. But unless you have the right nourishment, unless you treat your mind with the best there is, the best coaching programs there are for your mind, it's impossible. You'll go back to where you've been and you'll never be the same person again, and it's going to be worse than before. So this is how I felt. I felt in going through this black tunnel, very narrow black tunnel, and you brought me at the end. And since I never looked back. And that was only one session with you. So imagine what our listener could have becoming your client for life, like most people do. And it's no looking back. So you have to be ready for something that you never knew it's possible, for something that you never knew exists. That's your mind. So I'm so grateful, Tom and Sandra. If you are listening, just take this from me. You have to understand how much love is there for you and how much you give, because perhaps people are afraid of telling you what you give is priceless. You gave me my life back, the life I never knew I could have. Over to you, Tom.
Wow, that's incredible to hear, Marina, and that's just really, that's why we do what we do. And Sandra will be listening to this because she listens to all of these interviews and really enjoys them. And I'm sure one day that she's going to be on here doing these interviews with you, because you know that she's a very special woman and she has an incredible amount to say that's really helpful for people. She's been teaching people for forever, so she's a very special person. Of course I'm going to say that, aren't I? But it's true. So I'm sure she's going to really feel very, very delighted to hear that. And it's just fascinating that whenever we have these conversations, there's such it feels like such a synchronicity is happening, because what you're describing in that process, in a sense, really is part of that first stage in motivating the mind. Because one of the questions we have to ask really is, what is the intention there? What's the intention of change? Because when you stood back and you started to, ask those questions, because at this stage you feel a little unsupported, and you're trying to understand things and there's a way, but you can't quite see it. In a sense, when you ask yourself, what's the intention of everything I'm doing? Then you can get clear with that. And then the path kind of, in a sense, unfolds. And you begin to see not just why you want these things, but how they can be possible, how you can have that freedom and to be your own person and live a good life and find yourself and discover what you are and what you love and gain that inner peace. So this is a really important part of that whole first step of motivating the mind. And once you've got this bit in place, then as you know, and as you've described, the changes just like they unravel, and it's a beautifully transient process where it happens, and then the next thing comes along, and then the next thing comes along, and this is the beauty of life, and it becomes very exciting living that life, doesn't it?
Well, it's the only life I know, so I think exciting is an understatement. I don't get tired. I can't wait I wake up 10 minutes to 6 each morning, And before that, I'm thinking, so no matter what I am in the world, I don't use an alarm clock. So I'm ready. And I wake up sooner than that now because I'm so excited about what's next. And sometimes it's like, oh gosh, this minute is too long. I wish that the time will go faster for me to speak to people and listen to their story and broadcast their story. And it's so much going on. And I don't know if you've seen, if you heard this week, we had we had a very interesting experience. So I had to go to a meeting, a very important meeting. It was 7:30 in the evening. So I planned it that way because this person only comes to London once a year. So I didn't want to miss this time. So I said, yes, I'll be there. And then one of our hosts in South Africa, she called me and asked to make our show at the same time, 7:30. So I did not blink, Tom. I did not think, oh, it's very important for me to be, I have prior engagement. I don't care. You know, my heart, I know where my heart is. And I just go with my heart. And I go all in. And you know what happened? It was just magical. She brought one of her students, and the day before I interviewed an amazing lady. Her name is M.I.N.D Turner, and she wrote a poem for our listeners. So I gave Charmaine, the melody host from South Africa, that poem, and she she gave it to her student, and he jazzed it up. So in 24 hours, we created a new program, which is called Jazz It Up.
Oh, wow. Wow.
How many people, how many millions of people are going to benefit of this, you know? And yes, that meeting was important for me. And it's, you know, like, imagine there is nothing more powerful than the passion you hold, than what is in your heart. And once you understand that nothing compares, it's nothing that could at least equal your inner self, your talent, what you create, what you deliver. Nothing. There is no, you know, it's priceless.
Yeah.
And you see, without even knowing that all this is going to happen in a spur of a moment, just like, yeah, why not? Let's do it. And how many lives are going to change because of Jazz It Up? Now is a mindset. is a mindset, and we have people connecting and when can I start the program, and I'm just creating the program.
Yeah.
So you see, it's just understanding that when you invest interest, when you understand what's happening, what is possible, what is available inside your mind, there is no stopping.
No. No, it's inspirational, isn't it? When you get to that place, it can really take you back. And I just love the name of that program, Jazz It Up. It's already imprinted in my mind. What a great name! I'm going to search that and have a look. I'm really excited by that. It sounds a wonderful name.
Yeah, it is, because it's like life, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember that Louis Armstrong said that if you have to ask what jazz is, you'll never understand. And it's the same with Jazz It Up. If you have to ask what Jazz It Up is, you'll never understand. You have to do it. Yeah. so it's a state of mind. This is what it is.
Yeah.
So you are given the opportunity to become the opportunity. So that young person, that young musician in South Africa, he's been given the opportunity to jazz it up, and he did. And he turned it into a masterpiece. Yeah. And the day before, this amazing woman, M.I.N.D Turner, she wrote that poem without me knowing. She said during the show, she said, "Can I read it?" And I said, "Of course, go ahead." And where is this going to take us? I really don't know, but it's happening. And this is the power of creating order in your mind.
Yeah.
What is more important? Prioritize. I always had this laziness about things around me. You know, I really don't care. I don't care. I could walk over anything. I don't see it. But I am obsessed with having order in my own mind.
Yeah.
And focus. I focus. I don't do two things at the same time. I can't. I just, right now, I'm with you right now. That's all I have. That's my treasure. That's my once in a lifetime opportunity to be more, to learn more, to give more. And I don't think of anything outside this.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it gives you drive. I don't know what it is. You could explain it all. I don't know the technical parts. I don't know the mechanics of it. All I know is that create order before you create your life. You can't have a life of diversions. That's no life. That's a waste of time. And now it's like I don't know if you've been to Japan, but you've been to Japan. So the bullet train, your mind is a bullet train.
Yeah. It certainly moves that fast, right?
Yes. Over to you, Tom.
Yeah. It's, I totally agree with, with what you're saying. And it really fits with what happens with the mind is that when you get that order, then in a sense, once you've motivated the mind, how the mind works is that the very next thing it starts to look at is, okay, so what do we do? And this is often, in a sense, it makes me chuckle inside when I hear someone get to the stage and they're so excited and motivated. They say, what do we do? What do we do? But you see, in a sense, it's not about doing, it's about how they become. So the next part of the M.I.N.D Master Method is to inspire. So we motivate first and then we inspire, because the inspiration finds the solution. So in this, then what people start to experience is some kind of initial change. You see, to become motivated for someone that has been struggling and stuck, and maybe they've been stuck in a habit or stuck with a certain mindset, when you can really motivate them, then it's like, okay, so what else can happen? So we've created the first change here, and then they can see that there's a process happening, and then we can start to explain to them, okay, so this is what we do next, and this is how we can do things next, and imagine this is how you can become. And here they experience something different to what they're normally getting, because you see, it's not just a technical process. It's a process of evolve. It's evolving. I spoke about with you before the whole process of self-actualization, and that all human beings, as an organismic self, are becoming and becoming as much as we can possibly be, and it really fits in with this. So there's a real need to feel something different, and it has a real impact on that person's perspective. The possibilities are there. Change can happen. It's exciting. It's something new, and what's really interesting here is that because this happens so fast, and then it's a 4-step process, and this doesn't mean it takes a long time. It's actually quite quick, because it happens so fast that there's the idea that you can change very quickly becomes apparent, and you see, there's so many different approaches of coaching and therapy and personal development, where it's sort of put out there that it's long and it's hard and it takes a lot of work, and it does if you're doing what isn't natural. But when you get into a natural process of getting into yourself, and you motivate the mind, and you begin to inspire yourself towards a solution, change can happen in an instant, in a millisecond. So here we start to get into the potential for that person to believe that what their patterns of behavior at the moment I can actually change into something new. And this happens. It fascinates me every time I see it, and I get excited every time I see this process unfolding. It's just it's such a rare thing to have the opportunity to watch someone believe, or to form a new belief in such a short period of time. So yourself, once you get into this place, that it all unfolds, and what you should be doing in life, it comes to you, right?
Oh, Tom, you see, I remember that years ago we've been talking, when we had that mastermind in Toronto, we were talking about what if one day we could inspire more than 100 people? What if one day we could inspire more than 1,000 people? What if one day we could inspire millions around the world? And I think that's happening now. I think we don't even understand how much inspiration we bring at the table, because the world is in short supply of inspiration. We have everything else. We have a sky that is above us, and we look at the sky and it's limitless. We look at the ocean and it feels limitless. We look at everything. We look at other people and feels limitless. But can we really see? Can we really see? When you look at yourself and you look into a mirror instead of looking through the window for looking for solutions, and you look inside and you look into that mirror and see who you are, and you become the mirror, you become the window for other people. That's limitless. And inspiring is an ability of celebrating human nature, because I experienced moments in my life where I was running out of inspiration. I felt I don't have another house to remortgage to pay for another program and be inspired by another coach, So the desire is there, and it's possible. Now you are in a place where you change. There's no way of looking back. There's no way of going back. But where do you go next? Because you need inspiration. You need someone to tell you, look, just jump, take that leap of faith. I'm here. And if I'm here, you could be here. If I can, you can. And this is what inspiration is about. And this is what Radio Works World is about. We will never, absolutely never run out of inspiration. That's a promise. That's why we have people right now from 21 countries coming and sharing their story, inspiring each other. Is like the perpetuum mobile nobody could invent. So we are not here to sell anything. We are not here to close anyone on anything, on any books or programs. We are here to open the heart, to open the mind, and inspire each other. And look at us. I mean, you and Sandra inspire me, and humbly, I'm understanding now that I inspired you. And how beautiful is this? Is a constant spring of inspiration, and only with an open mind. Unless you work on your mind, unless you go through the process, unless you master this method, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. So for our listeners, if you are listening right now, go to Tom Barber, www.tombarber.co.uk. Connect with him, because I did, and look at me. If I can, you can. Over to you, Tom.
That's so nice to hear, Marina, and I would be delighted to hear from your listeners. Absolutely, and it's what we love doing. We love connecting, and so please, get in touch for sure. Drop us an email, either at myself, tombarber.co.uk, or selfhelpschool.com. Just get in touch. We love to hear from you. You can also contact Sandra at sandrawestland.com. So, but we'll put up all the links for you, Marina. It is a constant process of growth. It's so wonderful to hear that you've got 21 countries, tuning into this, because it is about connection. And I think something incredible is happening in the world. Something incredible is happening on the planet, and it's happening, in a sense, kind of. in a way, a lot of people are not realizing it is happening, because it's almost become normalized that people are connecting so quickly and in such vast numbers. I was thinking the other day about social networking and how many different social networks there are. And the interesting thing about this also is that each network attracts a different kind of person, and with a different kind of psychology and a different kind of personality. And doesn't it just show you how different people are? It's just amazing. I love it. I really do. It's why we do what we do. It's just an exciting world to live in right now, you know?
Wow. Yeah, just imagine that now I'm speaking with you. You are in England. In 20 minutes or less, I'm speaking with somebody from another continent. And then 20 minutes later, I'm speaking with somebody from another continent. And the whole day is like this. Each day, I speak with people from 5 different continents.
Wow.
And if that is not a massive change you and Sandra produced for me, opened for me, I don't know what else I could ask. You know, it's like never looked back and never doubted myself, never been in 2 minds about anything. Because this is the other thing, Tom. You know, after that day, I never, absolutely never experienced being into 2 minds about anything.
Yeah.
I put my mind to something, I go all in. That's it. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And you know, the most beautiful thing about being inspired by you and Sandra is that, you know, you are part of the journey. Even if you don't know it, in my mind, I'm thinking of what you and Sandra taught me. So you become part of my journey without even knowing.
Wow.
So you see, to succeed, you need somebody to inspire you, and you need something to motivate you, and that's all there already in your mind. You have it all already, and you need a platform to inspire you, where people are like-minded people, and of course nobody is perfect, but everybody is so awesome, and we are so different and so unique, and it's so much that everybody brings at the table. It's just a vast amount of greatness. I can't even, I don't know how to put this, but I become available for greatness, your greatness. So each time I share your story, somebody else's story, it's almost like connecting with eternity and with greatness, and you know, it's contagious. I put, you know, I take it, I put it on me, even it's not mine. But because when you share, like you share now, everything you got stays with me, and you speak from the heart, goes to my heart. And it's like being in a garden of soul, you know, and it's from your garden to my soul, and it's growing. It's like a seed. And it's so powerful. I don't think, I mean, I love books and I love reading, but I don't think any book could do as much as listening to your story.
Well, that's powerful, Maureen. It really is. I'm just remembering, as you were describing there, about that process again, the power walk, and I remember when Sandra and I were going through that whole program on that event. If you remember, one of the things that was really important, having done that, and which is why I believe that, you know, you're doing some just incredible things right now. And do you know, when I speak with you right now, it's like I really get a sense that you're so in your zone, and that you're doing what you're here to do, and it's just wonderful to hear. But one of the things that we really made a point of doing, I believe, which was part of the program and part of the M.I.N.D Master Method too, it's the next step, was to help you navigate the change that was happening. Because you see, it's great to get that motivation and then to find the inspiration, but there's a point where you really need to manage it, to navigate it, because when you start to live in a new way, it starts to bring with it different patterns of being. And in a sense, you start to create a new vision. So there's a need there really to instill the belief that that can continue, and to make these new behaviors automatic, and to stop having to think about being different, and really create that unconscious change. So the idea there is that the constant reprogramming and the belief building and the empowerment is what really changes the behavior into one that's really authentic. And that's where I believe that you really master the mind. That's the Mind Master Method. That's what the whole point of it is that you motivate yourself into the change, and then you're inspired to do something different. But then most of all, you can manage it, you can navigate it. And this is where you become competent. You see, I'm sure that when we sit down to do these interviews and all the other interviews that you're doing, you haven't got to sit there and plan them out, because what you're doing is coming from within you, and it's just real and true, and it's what you are. And so it becomes, in a way, you become unconsciously competent at what you're doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Tom, I was thinking, when we met, I was in a very dark place. Even everybody was looking up to me, and there were great expectations. I really wanted nothing more but to deliver those expectations, and I had no idea where to next. Is that question again? Where to next? And It's about navigation and navigating through a dark tunnel, because at the time you have nothing to sell, so nobody is going to want you on their stage because you have nothing to sell. So they make their money from selling your program, from selling you.
Yeah.
And even if they love you and they want you, they can't have you on their stage, because stage is a very expensive place. So at the time, I had no idea what's next, and I was keep going, and I was keep, I couldn't stop. And it was like a fast, being on the fast lane. But somehow, at the same time, I was into this narrow tunnel. And how do you navigate there? It's no, you don't have any signal from the above. So it was really the right moment when, to me, you are God sent, because you came into my life exactly when I needed the most, and exactly when I could not even understand what's happening, and exactly when I had no one to ask. And just being connected with you and your gift and listening to you, I realized that actually I have it all, and I've been told, but you have it all. And I thought, oh yeah, of course, tell me more. So it was like a joke, I'm thinking everybody's telling me how great I am, and I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue what they're talking about. So navigating from that place, from your old self into your new self, the one that could create and deliver from a stage and bring value to your audience. But to be on a stage is very hard to pay for that place, for the 90 minutes when you sell on stage.
Yeah.
Because at the time you don't have anything, you have everything but nothing. So I know most of our listeners are in that situation right now, when they have so much greatness, and everybody's telling them, you have it all, and they must think like I used to think, what are they talking about? So creating your strategic self, this is what navigate means for me.
Perfect.
Because you have to navigate through your old self, get rid of the old stuff, allow new stuff, and reinvent yourself. And it's almost like, hurts. That's for sure. It's a very painful process. But I've been so fortunate, and I'm sure we met for a reason, for a great reason, and to help other people and inspire other people. But at the time, I really had no idea where north is. I felt that kind of, I'm going north, but I was underground. I was into this black tunnel underneath, and I couldn't see the end of it. I couldn't see any light. And when you shine up and you start talking about your story, and we're connecting and connecting the dots basically, because this is what connecting with other people, with the right people is. You are connecting the dots. And then in no time I was out. I was like, flip your fingers and you are out. So this is exactly what happened. And that's why, to me, I will never have enough words to tell you how grateful I am. All I can do is to share my story and tell other people who are in a place in that, narrow tunnel, and tell them is the light at the end of this tunnel. It's a beautiful light. It's so much light at the end of this tunnel. It's worth going through the pain. But you don't need to go through the pain, because you have Tom Barber and Sandra Westland, and they helped me without even realizing how much you helped me. And you are there for them. So make that connection, connect the dots. You really don't want to struggle. You don't really need to feel from one hand that everybody wants you, because they know already, they see it. They see something you don't see yet. And it's all a matter of navigating through your own discovery journey to deliver, because you got the divine essence. You got it all. And it's true. What other people are seeing in you, it's real. But for you to embrace that, to turn that challenge into an opportunity, the opportunity of your life, to deliver what you already have, that's phenomenal. It's the most amazing experience. And every day I meet people that inspire me, and they make me so proud. And I'm always thinking, you know what, if I can, you can. And every day for me it's a reminder of how, wow, it's happening. No, it's not about the how anymore. So it's a reminder of, wow, it's happening. Be ready, be camera ready, be mic ready, be whatever, but be ready. And accept and embrace whatever challenges I might have. I embrace them all, because I know it's for a great reason. Over to you, Tom.
It's just wonderful to hear you talk about that. I'll tell you where it's taken me, Marina, is this whole thing about navigating, where we're going in life. It really reminded me that unless I had inside me already that motivation, and I motivated my mind and knew that I could achieve certain things, and I was able to instigate this through inspiration, then do you remember this time? I would never have been able to navigate this, but when we was in Los Angeles, and we was the best mastermind I ever had was on Malibu Beach with you, by the way.
Yeah, that was phenomenal. Oh my God. Yeah.
It was awesome. I think I think all of those meetings should be done on Malibu Beach for sure. But you handed me the keys in Los Angeles, and I hadn't driven before, and I thought, well, just trust in the process. I'm going to allow myself to navigate where I need to go, and it was wonderful. I loved driving there. For some bizarre reason, I prefer driving on the other side of the road. Maybe there's some kind of, I don't know, genetic memory or something there. But
yes,
it's about trusting. It's about trusting yourself that this process, when you have the map, and you're able to put into place how you manage what unravels and what you put in place, and you can navigate it, then you can just make incredible changes. The final part of the Mind Master was to dominate the future. And, I'd love to go into it today, but we're limited with time. But you understand that once you have this in place, you're able to dominate how your future unfolds and so many aspects of that. And you can really start to improve your performance. You can make so many changes, and you grow the potential, and it becomes incredibly powerful. And this is where really, when you put these 4 areas together, and you unleash that power, and you go all in, like you say, this is when you can really make some massive changes. So this is the process, and I guess when I hear you talking, it's wonderful to hear, because you're proof that these things actually make sense, and that they create massive change. I'm so pleased to hear.
Wow, Tom, I each time we approach the final minutes of of our show, I'm thinking, oh no. So we are celebrating 35,000 hours of one-to-one coaching and therapy over 23 years with Tom Barber's. And you are opening the mind today. Our listeners have the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to connect with you. They have the M.I.N.D Master Method at their fingertips. It's a journey, it's a discovery journey, and got only 4 stages. But it's 4 stages of solid, lasting change. It's not a bandage to a wound. It's solid. It works. That's all I can say. Works. Motivation, instigation, navigation, domination. They're all part of you. You can deliver, and think of what this is going to bring about in your life. Bring yourself at the table. Open your mind. Connect with Tom Barber now. www.tombarber.co.uk. Join great conversation of Radio Works, radioworks.world. And the world is your oyster. Over to you, Tom.
It certainly is. And Marina, as with every great celebration, we want to really make your listeners an offer, because we totally believe in this program of change, and it's been, as tens of thousands of hours in the making. So any of your listeners that want to actually take part in this and go through it with me and really make these changes, because it's an anniversary and a celebration, we're really happy to give you 50% off of any of the programs. So
wow.
This I hope will make a massive difference to anybody that's listening that wants this.
Wow.
But is maybe struggling to find that those finances. We want to help. That's what we're here for. So just get in contact, find out about the program at the mindmastermethod.com. Have a look and get in contact with us. We're here to help, and we want to help. And I just want to thank you for doing everything you're doing for everyone that's listening. Marina is just one of the most amazing people I've ever met, and we're privileged to have you doing this, Marina. Thank you.
Wow. Until next time, open the mind. From both of us, it's goodbye.
Goodbye.